Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Brett's Brain. Today, we're going to talk about how venture capitalists make money and why entrepreneurs need to know this information and should care about this information. Hey, I'm Brett Brohl, former entrepreneur, current venture capitalist. Thanks so much for checking out the channel. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, do all those things. And if you have any entrepreneurs in your network that might be helped by us, please ask questions. Tell them to ask questions. Our goal here is to help entrepreneurs succeed. Okay. So why in the world should entrepreneurs care about how venture capitalists make money, and how do venture capitalists make money? It's a great question. When you think about raising capital as an entrepreneur, what are you actually doing? You're selling. That's all you're doing. You're going out and you're selling a piece of your company. You're selling your vision. You're selling yourself. You're selling your traction. It's almost identical to selling your product to whoever your core customer is. That's all it is, a sales job. And the best salespeople in the world, they're able to put themselves in their customers' shoes. Too many times as entrepreneurs, as salespeople, what we do is we go into a sales meeting or that sales pitch with our own perspective. We're thinking internally. We know our product so well. We know our company so well. We're thinking about it from our perspective of, hey, here's the 17 different things our widget will solve for your company. With an investor, here's why we're so great and you should really care about us. But you fail to truly understand the pain points or the goals and objectives of whoever you're selling to. And that's something that the best salespeople on the planet do really well. Before a sales meeting, they prepare and they ask a lot of questions in the meeting to understand what are the pain points of their potential customer. From an investor perspective, what does your investor care about or this potential investor care about? In general, let's assume that investors care about financial return. Because all of them do that I know. Even ones that are impact driven or have theses around other things also need to drive financial return. And so you need to as an entrepreneur, you need to put yourself in their shoes. Okay, what does financial return mean? How do they drive financial return? What are the financial dynamics of a venture capital fund so I can position my company in such a way that it will drive the type of return that they're looking for? It's no different than selling your widget to a potential customer. You've got to understand what the financial return on them buying that widget is. In this case, when I invest in a company, my widget that I'm buying is just a percentage of your company. And so for entrepreneurs to really understand the dynamics of how the financials of a venture capital fund work, enable you to put yourself in the shoes of the person that is making an investment decision on your company. And so let's talk about that now. How does it actually work? How do VCs make money and venture capital funds make money? Well, it's a fund structure, which means that we're not just investing our own money. Some of it's ours, and obviously we would like to make money on the money that we invest. But in general, what we're actually doing is we're just managing the money of other people or other entities. So our investors as venture funds are things like high net worth individuals, institutions, endowments, pension funds, anything like that. Family offices. So it's people that can write large checks into a fund that enable us to then invest in you. And our job as fund managers is to make those people money. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, especially with smaller funds. If you're managing a $50, $100, sub-billion dollars in AUM, the way you make the majority of your money from a venture perspective is through what's called the carry. And what we care about from a venture perspective is these really big returns. You hear about all the time, we need these outliers, we need these outliers. So why do we need those and how does this all tie together? So if you raise a $100 million venture capital fund, as a fund investor, you actually don't make any money on the carry until you've paid back all $100 million to your investors. And so what is carry? Carry basically says that after we pay back all of our investors' initial investment, that $100 million, we will make a percentage of money on every dollar we make for them after that. Market standards, 20%, a 20% carry on the AUM or on the assets under management. And so and on the assets returned. And so after that first $100 million is returned, every dollar after that, we're going to take 20 cents on. And to be a great venture fund, to be a top quartile venture fund, you need to be able to return at least 3x cash on cash to your investors. So you've got to be able to turn $100 million into $300 million. And if you're an early stage startup, and you're pitching a fund and you're pitching me an opportunity that, like, hey, Brett, like, we're going to build this for 3 years and then we think we can be acquired for, $30 million. Like, in your mind, you might still own 70% of that company and sell a company for $30 million bucks. And you're going to make, $21 million on that. And that sounds great to you. And it is. That's awesome. Go do that. That's killer. The reality is, for a venture fund, that's far less interesting, because maybe we own 10 to 30% of your company at best in that scenario, and you go sell it for $30 million. We get $3 million of it. And we have a $100 million fund, and we have to get to $300 million in returns for our fund to be a high-performing fund. That $3 million in returns that we're going to send back to our investors doesn't even start to chip away at the surface of what we need to do. And so if you position your company that way, it's going to be a turnoff for us, even though it sounds great and it's a big number. It just doesn't work for the venture model. We need those companies that are going to come in and want to build stage after stage after stage for years to get to the point where they can sell for $1 billion or multiples of billions of dollars. Because then that 10% we own returns $100 million. And now we need 3 of those. So if we can get that company that sells for $1 billion that we own 10% in our $100 million fund, we've returned that money to our investors. That first $1 billion exit that everybody talks about, the fund managers didn't make any money on it. We returned that $100 million to our investors, which is awesome. We'll feel great about it, but we need to have another one of those now. And so these small exits just won't add up. And the reality is that half of the investments that we make aren't even going to have a small exit. They're going to go to zero. And so what we're really looking for when we're making an investment decision, or when we're thinking about investing in a startup, is we're looking for those all or none. We'd rather have a company go all in, put all their resources to work, try their hardest, go for broke and not make it, than kind of slowly spend money, slowly grow, take some risks, not many risks, and slowly build a company to $5 million in revenue and sell for 20. That's just not that interesting. We want you to take risks. We want you to spend our money. We want you to go big and take the things that are calculated risks, but if they work, it turns you into $1 billion company. That's the vision you've got to sell. And the reason is because of how our financial dynamics work. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this is a little bit of an explainer about how venture capitalists make money and why you need to understand it as a founder so you can work it into how you tell your story, and honestly to decide if venture capital is right for you. Because you don't need to raise venture capital to build a great company. You can build a great company without it. So make sure you're aligned with what the venture model looks like, and that's the kind of company that you want to build as an entrepreneur. If you like this, make sure you subscribe, share, do all those things, and ask us questions so we can help you in your entrepreneurial journey.